Imagine cruising down an empty highway late at night, headlights piercing the darkness, when suddenly, another car appears out of nowhere. You blink once, twice, and it's gone. Sounds impossible, right? But is it really? This is the story of the haunted car urban legend, where twisted metal meets lingering spirits and nightmares come alive on the open road. Welcome, everyone, to another dive into the chilling realm of Night Whisper horror stories. Whether it's your first time watching, or you're a returning seeker of scary stories, you're in for a pulse-pounding ride. Today, we're exploring an eerie phenomenon that has fascinated believers and skeptics alike for decades. The haunted car. Before we speed into these gripping accounts, let's pump the brakes and look at where it all began. Cars became household staples in the mid-20th century, an age marked by booming highways, restless wanderers, and a growing fascination with the phantom hitchhiker urban legend. With these new roads came new mysteries, including tales of ghost theory that suggest a spirit can attach itself to an object, in this case a car. But what turned the humble automobile into an icon of supernatural dread? And could this lead us to something even greater? Legends say that certain cars, often those with tragic histories, are prone to become conduits for paranormal activity. Owners report disembodied voices, inexplicable electrical glitches, and freak accidents. Are these eerie anecdotes just freak coincidences? Or is there something more sinister under the hood? Some experts in folklore argue that these stories serve as cautionary tales about road safety and mechanical failure, symbolic warnings that we should respect the power of the machines we drive. Yet others delve deeper, pointing to paranormal investigations and historical records of bizarre car-related deaths, fueling beliefs in a haunted car phenomenon. Which side are you on? Safety parable, or something more inexplicable? Let's shift gears and explore further. We've all heard about the phantom hitchhiker urban legend, a wandering spirit who vanishes from the passenger seat, leaving nothing but a damp seat or a chilling message behind. But what if the entire car is the ghostly entity? Several accounts describe a vintage sedan seen tailing unsuspecting drivers late at night, only to vanish without a trace. Talk about a disappearing act. In Brazil, the Carro Fantasma is rumored to appear in remote towns, sometimes chasing drivers at breakneck speeds. When they finally dare to stop or pull over, there's no car to be found, only dust and the distant echo of an engine. Could it be a trick of the mind, or a spirit forced to roam until it finds closure? What do you think? Are these tales the result of overactive imaginations, or do they hint at a sinister pattern worldwide? If this is already twisting your reality, show some love by hitting the like button. And if you crave more horror stories and ghost theory breakdowns, consider subscribing for a front row seat to the unexplained. Thanks for sticking around. Now that we've teased your curiosity with some chilling examples, and you've shown your support, let's take a brief detour from our current route and explore how these haunted car tales pop up all over the globe. Because if you think this phenomenon is confined to one place, well, buckle up. It's about to get far more international. Picture this. You're driving through the endless desert roads of Western Australia. No towns for miles, just you and the moonlight. Suddenly in your rearview mirror, you see bright headlights bearing down on you. You speed up, but the lights stay locked behind you. Then, as if on cue, they vanish. Locals call it the ghost truck, a hulking phantom that prowls the outback. Is it a myth for spooking backpackers? Or do these empty roads really hide Night Whisper horror stories we can't explain? Terrifying? Absolutely. But let's shift gears to a story that's both glitzy and ghastly. You've heard of James Dean, that Hollywood heartthrob whose star burned bright and tragically short. His Porsche 550 Spyder, nicknamed Little Bastard, didn't retire after Dean's fatal accident. Oh no. Rumors say that every time someone tinkered with its parts or transported it, gruesome misfortunes followed. Mechanics injured, other drivers crashing, mysterious fires starting out of nowhere. Coincidence? Skeptics shout yes, but believers whisper that the car was drenched in Dean's restless spirit. Could this chilling piece of celebrity lore prove that ghost theory is more than just a legend? Or is it all hype fueling scary stories? In Germany, the Autobahn is legendary for its lack of a general speed limit. Now imagine blazing along at 120 miles per hour when you notice a vintage car, no driver in sight, keeping perfect pace with you. Some drivers claim they've glimpsed a headless figure behind the wheel, while others say the car simply flickers like a hologram before disappearing at the next bend. Mechanical anomaly or phantom hitchhiker, urban legend 2.0. You decide. One thing's certain. Haunted cars aren't parked in just one country's folklore, they're everywhere. How exactly does a car become haunted in the first place? Spiritual mediums and paranormal researchers suggest that when a sudden or traumatic event occurs, like a fatal crash, the victim's energy might imprint itself onto the vehicle, creating a so-called residual haunting. Much like the night whisper horror stories you'd hear around campfires, these events replay again and again. On the flip side, some folks say these stories are about as real as a talking toaster. I mean, come on, a possessed pickup truck? Skeptics claim it's all psychological suggestion. Weird noises are just rattling engines, random flickers are faulty wiring, and those dreaded sightings might be illusions caused by sleep deprivation on a late-night drive. So which is it? A residual energy loop? Or an overactive imagination? Could this explain the phenomenon, or is there something more? Scientists propose that stress, lack of sleep, and the power of suggestion can heighten our senses, making us interpret ordinary occurrences as supernatural. Yet die-hard paranormal investigators are quick to point out countless scary stories of eyewitnesses swearing they saw a driverless car or heard eerie laughter coming from an empty backseat. Now, some cars don't just carry ghosts, they're said to carry a curse. Let's look under the hood of a few more infamous rides that left a trail of chaos and tragedy. First, we have the Golden Eagle, 1964 Dodge 330, dubbed the most evil car in America. This police cruiser turned private vehicle allegedly caused the deaths of multiple owners and even passers-by. People claim the doors open by themselves and that the mere sight of it instills an irrational fear. A tall tale or a lethal lemon? Next, we have Archduke Franz Ferdinand's Grafenstift. We're talking about the very car that carried the Archduke before his assassination, an event often credited with igniting World War I. Afterwards, subsequent owners suffered a series of tragic fates. Some call it the world's deadliest automobile. Is it possible that the weight of history left an imprint of doom? If you're new here or it's your first time watching, tap that subscribe button for more Night Whisper horror stories and unravel the most compelling mysteries the road has to offer. Stress, fear, and the environment can play tricks on our mind, conjuring illusions under low visibility or when our guard is down. Your brain wants to fill in the blanks, sometimes painting them with the darkest brush imaginable. Then there's the spiritual perspective. Spirits can cling to objects or locations, and cars, especially those tied to tragic unresolved deaths, offer a compelling stage for haunting. Ghost theory suggests energy cannot simply vanish, it has to go somewhere. Pop culture thrives on these uncanny tales. Films, books, and even entire YouTube channels revolve around first-time watching haunted car scenes. Exposure amplifies belief, turning rumor into legend, and legend into enduring lore. Ever notice how every old roadside diner has that story about the cursed car parked out back? Are you intrigued, unsettled, or a mix of both? Let me know in the comments by typing #HauntedCar if you think these stories hold some truth. And if you're loving this deep dive, share it with a friend who adores a good mystery. To ensure we're not running on hearsay alone, let's bring in some real-world references. Primary research from local historical societies often reveals archived police reports detailing unexplained vehicle accidents. Expert opinions from folklorists compare the haunted car myth to universal themes found in ghost stories, like restless spirits unable to move on. And don't forget the cultural anecdotes passed down through generations, each adding a layer of intrigue. So, do these historical records legitimize the legend, or are they just fueling more speculation? So, after dissecting everything from psychological illusions to restless spirits, you're probably bursting with questions of your own. Let's take a quick pit stop to answer a few of the most intriguing audience queries before we hit the final stretch. First question: could intense emotions curse a car? Some paranormal believers argue that extreme rage, fear, or anguish can leave a psychic residue. Think of it like a permanent stain on the upholstery of reality. Real or not, it's a fascinating concept. The idea that our strongest feelings might latch onto the objects around us. Second question, do haunted car stories show up in official police reports? While law enforcement rarely labels anything haunted, there are scattered records of baffling events, like cars appearing abandoned in the middle of nowhere with no sign of the driver. Sometimes it's chalked up to psychological distress or foul play, but who knows? Our final question, what about modern vehicles? Do self-driving cars get haunted too? Talk about a tech horror mashup. I've yet to see a Tesla possessed by a Victorian ghost, but never say never. Maybe our next wave of scary stories will be software glitches that really aren't glitches at all. What's your biggest burning question about haunted cars? Drop it below and let's keep the headlights shining on this enigma. I received a story from a viewer who wishes to remain anonymous. We'll call them Alex. Alex was on a midnight drive through rural farmland. No streetlights, no traffic, just the drone of the engine and a creeping sense of unease. Suddenly, the car radio crackled, switching to a station that played static and faint whispers, despite Alex's phone showing zero reception. The steering wheel then twitched, as if yanked by unseen hands. Panicking, Alex pulled over, flung open the door and scrambled out. Only then did they notice handprints smeared across the dusty window on the inside. No one was there. Now the question is, was it a glitch in the radio? A freak mechanical error? Or did Alex just stumble upon the next big ghost theory? What would you do in that situation? Hit the gas or grab your phone to film a Night Whisper special? Let us know. Now it's easy to get swept up in spine-tingling tales. Who doesn't love a good scare? But let's look at what the skeptics say, because every story has two sides. Psychological phenomena. Our brains are wired to recognize patterns and faces. Pareidolia. Dim lighting, exhaustion, even the hum of an engine can warp our senses into conjuring ghosts where there are none. Mechanical explanations. Misaligned steering, electrical shorts, or a loose radio antenna can cause bizarre car behavior, ranging from flickering lights to random radio static. Sure, it sounds spooky at 3 a.m., but is it paranormal or just technical trouble? Whether you're Team Ghost or Team Gearhead, the tension between these viewpoints only makes the haunted car legend more compelling. If you're fired up about these contrasting theories, share this video with a friend who loves horror stories, or maybe a mechanic who can debunk it all. Ever wonder how you'd handle a haunted car encounter? Well, worry not, I've prepared a questionable survival guide just for you. Step 1. Verify you're not tired. Are you nodding off at the wheel? It might just be your sleep-deprived brain playing tricks. Grab a coffee, pinch yourself, and see if the ghostly headlights are still there. Step 2. Document everything. Pull out your phone to record any suspicious flickers. Safely, please. No filming and driving. Because if your car is haunted, you might just become the next viral sensation in the scary stories realm. Step 3. Bring backup. A buddy, a dog, maybe a dash of holy water. Whatever helps you feel secure. If the radio flips to static or your steering wheel jerks around, at least you won't face it alone. Of course, if the car really is possessed, you might consider an exorcism or, public transit. Just kidding. Mostly. So, from the dusty highways of Australia to James Dean's legendary Porsche, from outback ghost trucks to the winding roads of Germany's Autobahn, the haunted car legend takes many forms. But maybe these stories share one universal engine: our imagination. We pour our fears and fascinations into the very machines we depend on, merging the mortal and the mechanical in a dance of dread. In an age where technology is king, are these tales cautionary signals reminding us not to lose our humanity on the road? Or do they hint at a realm where restless spirits truly roam highways, searching for closure or perhaps a final ride? What do you think? Could these haunted highways be a glimpse into life after death, or are we simply fueling our darkest fears with a full tank of myth? Let's keep the conversation alive in the comments. That wraps up our deep dive into the haunted car urban legend. Hope it fueled your curiosity and maybe even gave you a little something to think about next time you hit the road. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who loves a good chill. And before you go, don't miss my next haunting adventure, the Seven Gates of Hell urban legend in Pennsylvania. It's a wild ride through one of the most notorious tales of hidden gateways, creepy lore, and chilling encounters you won't want to miss. So hit that subscribe button to join me on this journey into the unknown. Click the bell icon for notifications, and I'll see you in the next nightmare. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious and stay safe.